What was the highest waste of money that you don't regret? Just shy of 20,000 to go to Antarctica traveling solo small cruise ship. More than I've spent on every other vacation I've taken combined. Was one of the best trips of my life. It also gave me enough space and clarity to realize how toxic my ex was to me so that I could find the strength to leave not long after I got back. I'll always want to go back to Antarctica. The inner peace I found there changed my life. A quick 7-day trip to Maui in February a couple years ago with one of my teenage daughters, who happened to be free the same week I had off. Work was grinding me down, and I needed a break. My wife and the rest of the mother-in-law couldn't go. They were working or in school. The tickets were expensive. $850 each for bare bones economy narrow rock hard seats. It was a 12-hour flight that was packed to the brim. I was getting bed sores by the time we arrived. We rented snorkeling gear and a car and spent every day from dawn to dusk snorkeling, sitting on the beaches and hiking in the mountains. We did the Hana Road, the 7 sacred pools and the Helical Volcano National Park at sunset and took tons of photos. We ate spam musubi for breakfast, poke and somen noodles for lunch and loco moco for supper. Slept like babies with the windows open wide in the cool nighttime breezes. The best way to blow 5,000 ever. So much what I needed at that point in my life. And a trip your daughter will always cherish. Sounds amazing. OP. My grandfather absolutely loves the Beatles. He listens to their music every day. He doesn't speak English, but he always tries his best to sing along. It's so endearing. I had heard that Paul McCartney was coming to town for a concert. When I checked the ticket brother-in-law, there were only a few left, and they were quite pricey, especially for me, a high school student at the time. But I was determined to get him a ticket, and I did. I decided to present the ticket to him on my birthday, since the concert would be just a few days afterwards. When I gave my grandfather the ticket, he had broken into tears and hugged me so hard. I had never seen him so happy. The mother-in-law didn't leave his face for the rest of the day. Leading up to the concert, he would talk to everyone about how he was going to see Paul McCartney and that he had the most thoughtful granddaughter in the world. I spent $300 on a mule, an actual living, 4-hoofed, long-eared mule. We raise cattle, so a protection mule was a good excuse. But, really, I just fell in love with him. He's huge and sassy. He'll steal your hat and run away. He's got a ninja mode where he can sneak up on you, just to breathe down your neck or startle you. He does keep the coyotes away. However, he has proved himself priceless because he eats thistle. When we got the lease on the land for our cattle, the pastures had been neglected and were in bad shape. Thistle is a spiky plant that spreads across the pasture, choking out grasses. Cows won't eat it. It's really hard to get rid of. To our surprise, the mule cleared out nearly all the thistle in a matter of months. He would eat the flowers out of the center. He saved us an enormous amount of money and labor. We were able to avoid using chemical weed killers, which we really didn't want to do. Probably the best investment in our whole cattle raising experience. Edit Loki says thanks for all the sweet comments and awards. He'll definitely be getting some extra carrots tomorrow. Edit 2 mule tax link. My litter robot. Yes, I spent $600 on a cat shitter, but my house never smells. I don't have to scoop litter, and I only have to empty the drawer once a week. Definitely worth it to me. We just got one this year. I have 4 cats, 1 leg and a bad back, so bending over to scoop is not comfortable. I love that litter box. My fiance and I dropped close to $3,000 on a kitchen table and coffee table from Carolina Game Tables, the kind where you can take the top off and have a board game space underneath. They are comparatively plain compared to some you see online. No lights or USB ports, no cupboards, drawers or cup holders, just really solidly built solid wood tables where the top comes off. But hot damn, they've been awesome. We use them all the time. One unexpected use was Legos. I got a Lego set and started building it on the coffee table, and when I needed to stop for the night I just put the lid on until I was ready to continue. Don't regret a cent. In-home euthanasia for my best friend and companion. I absolutely did not have the money for it, and covered meant I couldn't have friends to be there with me. But I couldn't bear to see her go on a cold metal table. The vet came into my apartment and gave me as much time as I needed. I read a letter I wrote, and I got to sing to Zoe in her final moments with her on my lap the entire time. 10 best way to do the worst thing. I spent too much money on a big tread mother-in-law for a very small apartment. But I've ran 25 km on it every week for the past several years and it's been incredibly helpful both physically and mentally. Your downstairs neighbor's mental health is swiftly deteriorating. He should buy a tread mother-in-law. I've heard they're great. Artwork. Can I always afford it? No. But my walls are full of original, 90% local art. They make me happy to look at. I'm sure I made the artist happy too. I went to a Renaissance fair with my husband and some friends. It was his first time. And he's a pretty introverted person. So while he has fun watching everyone else dress up and act all goofy and old to me, he doesn't really participate. When we went to buy our first beer, the wench tried to sell him on one of those big mugs that looks like it's carved out of wood, but it's just plastic. It cost 100. Yes, you get free father-in-laws. But we were not planning on drinking 100 worth of beer that day. I could tell by the look on his face that he wanted it. He looked like a little kid at Disney World. Without thinking, I whipped out my credit card and dropped 100 on a shitty plastic mug. All day, he walked around proudly with his mug. He even took some big gulps and cheered Huzzah once or twice. This might not seem like much, but for my quiet, gentle giant, it is huge. I manage the finances in our relationship and I'm constantly cracking down on wasteful spending. So I think we were both amazed I made such a dumb purchase. 4 years later, we still have that mug. He gets a big grin every time he sees it and teases me about my irresponsible impulse. And every time I see it, I just think about how much I love that big galoot. Board games. They are expensive, but they bring much joy. My couch. I moved out of my mom's house last year 2019 so no COVID, and I always wanted a good couch. I tested so much. I went to so many furniture stores, looked at so many different models, and then choose mine. It's actually from IKEA. 3 seats and long enough to let someone sleep on it. In a grey, but I saw they were also having a black cover, so I'm thinking about getting that one. Extremely comfortable. I wanted a couch where you could chill out and love how fluffy it is without losing the brother-in-lawity to sit on it. In some couches you are not able to lean on the back and still have a straight back. You can sit on the backboard in the armrests. They are flat, so you can also put a cup of tea on them. It's also not too low, so you don't feel like sitting on the ground, which I do strangely often compared to my love for this couch, but you can let yourself fall onto that damn thing. It also looks easy and simple, so I don't want the suggestion of someone who tried a lot of couches and happens to be me then buy the Vimmel couch from IKEA. Edit oh my first award. Thank you. 800 for a front seat helicopter tour of Kauai for me and my wife. Totally worth it. I did the same. But on the big island. Worth every penny. I'll never forget it. J-Opal Nugget Ice Maker. Dang thing cost more than my car payment, but man oh man. I love nugget ice and I use it the heck out of it every day. I can't believe I'm going to spend ducking 500 on an ice machine because of this post. How could you? Read the reviews first. Looks like the original Opal the V1J have terrible problems. There's a 2.0 version. Stax headphones. About 800 in 1987, but I still listen to them, and they are unbelievably good. Spending hundreds of euros on broken musical instruments because they were pretty. I have since bought spare parts and started repairing them. I found my destiny. What do you plan to do with them? Some of them I will sell. Some I will keep. Currently I own 4 reed organs, 2 electronic organs, an Indian harmonium and a sitar. And these are only the ones that needed repair. Currently I plan to keep one of the reed organs, the sitar and the Indian harmonium, because I love to play those the most, and they're hard to get for a reasonable price. Since reed organs are dying out and don't get much love anymore, I took it upon myself to save as many as possible and give them into good hands. where they are actually appreciated. And the repair process is just so much fun. Not so sure about the electronic organ. I don't know what's wrong with it, and I have too much stuff on my hands to figure it out. I will try a few things. If they don't work, I might just throw it out. Electronic organs are incredibly common, and I can easily get another one for free if I ask the right people. I've been a fat guy all my life. Like, really fat. Dressing comfortably was always my preference, because being stylish just isn't an option at my size. This was always a source of anxiety at any social event that required dressing up. When I realized I had 4 weddings of close friends all coming up within the year, I decided to bite the bullet and get some decent formal clothes. I spent $800 on a suit jacket, $250 on 2 pairs of dress pants, a little over $300 for 3 shirts and 3 silk ties that were between $70 and $100 each. I stood for all my measurements and had everything tailored to my exact specifications. Did a fitting and had a second round of alterations on the pants, so they actually looked decent. Even though I wore them under my gut, people were floored when I showed up to the first wedding. I received so many compliments and actual double takes. Being introduced to new people felt completely different. I felt impressive. Some of those weddings were the best times of my life, and it was due, in no small part, to how those clothes looked and made me feel. Some of those friends have big pictures from their weddings hanging on their walls, and I don't cringe in embarrassment when I see myself in them. Those clothes cost more than I have ever spent on clothing in any 10-year period, and they were worth every penny. Being a big guy myself, I've thought about doing this, but I've always been too cheap. Now I want to do it. Thank you for sharing. I really hope you do. I'm not a confident person at all. I wear clothes that allow me to blend in with the wall, not stand out. I dread standing out. But just over a year ago, I was interviewing for a position I really wanted. Never wanted any position so badly. I decided I was going to splurge on an outfit to really knock it out of the ballpark. I did, and I found the most comfortable and striking outfit. I went into the interview confidently and strong. I held my own. Not just through a panel interview, but 6 hours of interviews following a panel. It was grueling, but that coat and blouse and slacks were perfectly fit to me. I didn't get the position, but I did land something better and more exciting, and was able to learn so much in that grueling day because I wasn't anxious about my appearance. 120 for a towel heater. I will never dry off with a cold towel again. Huh. Didn't expect to need one, but now I do. 60 at Costco. Fam. Finally found the motorcycle I wanted years ago, but could not get. It was not running. But after a round dumping $3,500 into it and doing a full frame up restoration and custom job on it, I have the bike I wanted years ago, but better. Yes, I did everything myself. Full paint job, tank frame, fenders, everything. I also did a full engine rebuild. Remade the wiring harness. Everything was all done in-house. So I put a touch over $3,000 into a bike that is only worth about $1,500 on a good day, but heck, it is mine, and I built it. Edit, here is a link to the bike at 99.5% done. I still have a few odds and ends, like I have a couple 30mm ammo cans I want to paint up and put on the foreback, and I'm redoing the reconfiguration of the foot controls to forward controls. Being 6'5", it is not very comfortable at the stock placement. Link. Hard to put a price on something like that. I've put thousands into cars I drive around. 100% all my own work. Never paid more than $1,000 to buy the cars. Yet driving a production car I can afford is so depressing compared to my bills. Cheers to the joy you built. Lego Death Star. Word. I got it when Amazon accidentally listed it for $125 for like 13 minutes one morning at 6 AM. He probably thought it was a worthless moon. Yeah, but that's no moon. I got into a stupid fight with my brother, so I found a game he had pledged on Kickstarter, Space Haven, and saw that for $360 I could write a pre-made character BO that would randomly show up. So I pledged it and wrote a character BO with his name and made him a flaming asshole. I have never played this game and don't want to. Has he got the game yet? It's in alpha. Not sure that backup perk has been implemented. I do have to say though, Being drunk, angry and having access to a credit card has been how the majority of my poor decision stories start. I would love to hear more drink with a credit card bad choice stories. I've never had that opportunity to be drunk, petty, and flush at the same time. I spent $3,000 for my wife to meet the Backstreet Boys and get front row seats. It is the best thing that has ever happened to her, and the smother-in-law on her face after the show and look of pure bliss in someone who suffers often from anxiety was worth every cent. Dining at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Mother-in-Law. We had an 18-course meal with wine pairings for like $400 or so. Edit for those asking. The restaurant is Joey Link. It's vegetarian, but it looks like it still exists and isn't much more expensive than when I was there 10 years ago. The extra I paying rent for a water view. Completely worth it. Back in 2017 my mother-in-law went on a road trip to Minnesota to visit my nana shortly before she passed. During our stay me and my little sister went to the Mall of America and bought whatever the duck we wanted. Big ice cream cones, Lego store souvenirs, tickets to the aquarium, fare for every indoor amusement park ride, a doll from the American Girl store, and eating an expensive lunch in the store with your new doll sitting at the table with us. Duck, yeah, little C's, it's all yours. I dropped over $300 in that one mall trip, but damn was it was one of our best shopping days ever. We still talk about it to this day. When I was younger I came into a sum of about 15k. I wasn't very careful with the money, and other than putting 5k down on car, I blew the money here and there. But what I put the largest amounts toward were friends in need. I paid one friend's power brother-in-law just before it got shut off. I helped another friend keep her water on. I never could keep my hands on money for long, but I don't regret having wasted it helping friends. $600 for an hour of laps, 3 of 20 minutes each around the Nürburgring in Germany. It was open in the off season and there wasn't a single other car near me the whole time. 10 one of the most thrilling experiences of my life. Edit, I rented a car at the track, which is why it was so much. You can bring your own car or rent one there, but they don't allow commercial rental cars. Individual laps were I think 20 each at the time. Due to poor insulation and distance from the water heater, my shower is never properly warm in winter. I just bought a single endpoint tankless water heater for just my shower. Best $150 I ever spent. Could I really afford it? No. Did I need it? No. Do I love it? You bet your sweet bippy I do. The summer after graduating high school, I won a decent amount of money playing online poker. Since I wasn't going off to college and all of my friends were, I decided to buy them all ridiculous going away gifts. A carpet, mailbox, toilet seat, etc. were among the gifts. The most expensive and ridiculous gift I bought on a whim was a massive wheel of cheese. Somewhere between $200, $300. Little did I know at the time that cheese wheel would set off a yearly event called Cheese-a-Jiving, where our entire much larger now with spouses and kids friend group gets together to celebrate and partake in cheesy goodness. This year was our 17th, unfortunately all virtual due to COVID, and I genuinely hope it never ends. Just bought a tread, mother-in-law. There is a perfectly good street outside I could run on, or I could pay for a gym membership for years and years. But now I can get a run in during my daughter's nap time, or when it's cold, or when I only have 30 minutes free, and driving to and from the gym would eat up half of my time. I certainly could have made it work without this expense, but I really love it. I got 27k and spent it on a solo cross-country road trip that led to me moving on the complete opposite side of the country from everyone I've ever known. I was in a dark place in my head. The original plan was to find a nice place to end my story, but the trip itself helped me reconsider. So absolutely no regrets to speak of. Edit, didn't really expect this to receive this much notice. Thank you for the awards. And I'm sorry if I can't reply to them all. I'm currently kind of swamped. Dyson blow dryer. It's worth every penny. I have long hair down to my waist. It only takes me about 3 minutes to dry it. When my mom was diagnosed with cancer a year after my dad died unexpectedly from cancer, I went to the animal aid thrift shop, bought a bunch of odd dishes, put down a drop cloth and threw them at my house while screaming bloody murder. I don't regret 1 second of that temper tantrum or 1 dime I spent to make it happen. I eventually made a couple of beautiful mosaics out of the pieces, and my mom is 6 months cancer free. Edit. Holy crap y'all. Thanks. I'm going to do my level best to respond everyone tomorrow. I just assumed this would get buried. Reddit is kind of where I get out some of my sad, so I can be there for my mother-in-law. I legit have no idea what to do with awards. Throw your money at pancreatic cancer research for my dad maybe. And yeah, I'm sure it's been in lots of movies. I crubbed the idea of breaking stuff from my favorite professors talking about breaking windows in an abandoned church after a house fire. Also, if my husband and sister have figured out who I'm from this, hi. Nobody was actually supposed to read it. Edit. To art tax. Link. I feel like I should qualify that the one I made is beautiful to me lol. Visiting the NBA finals while being an intern in the US. I'm from Germany originally. Tickets were $300 each. Had to drive back the 3 hours from Cleveland to Detroit at night to show up at work the next day, but damn, I'll never forget KD hitting the 3-pointer 45 seconds before the end.